Now, I've been drumming since 1998. I have a bachelor's, master's, PhD in music education, taught every grade, kindergarten through a doctoral student, had a full ride percussion performance, played a bunch of instruments, blah, 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 blah. But today, I'm going to have AI teach me what drumming is. So this is AI. This is drumming according to AI. So the first thing that I asked was to ask AI to create a snare solo. Okay, so in this initial prompt, I was like, all right, I want to see like what will happen if I say me. Like, will it know who I am as a drummer? So it doesn't show my face. So maybe that is me. I don't know. Like, we can't even see whether or not it's got my tattoos, etc. But right off the bat here, we've got beads on both sides of the sticks. Okay, that's fine. We've got some like wonkiness. Like, it looks like they melted the harness a little bit right there. But there's some like good stuff with it, with like the lugs, and we've got like the logo facing towards the front, like that's typical. It looks like the stakes, the sticks. I can't speak. The sticks are taped, etc. Like, lots of good stuff going on here. But we also have some wacky technique. Like, we're doing like full on rotary, like German grip right here. Looking great. And then we have this person that just like spawns into existence in the background. And they turn into two people as they walk away, which is impressive. So let's watch this again. I also like that like the visuals do not line up with the sound at all. Like, they're doing some ghost notes, but you can still hear a snare sound. And for some reason, like a set of tenors as well, which, you know, maybe they're playing in the background. Maybe we'll give AI some credit there, but... Yeah, nice drum roll. All right, so then I was like, all right, well, what happens if I ask it to do another one? So just like a different kind of solo, and we'll see what this one's like. My favorite part about this one is actually the smile at the end. So the AI like just like slowly puts a smile on their face. So just watch the smile. They're like super proud of themselves. Yeah, I did great. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So the technique here, it's really fascinating to me, like the way that it's like detecting what kind of motion should be going on here. So we've got, again, this like German rotary motion happening here, and like clearly not me, but you know, it's close. But when playing it, we also get like this relaxed like finger technique where the fingers hanging off. Okay, so I do that with my drumming, but then it like goes away like immediately, and then it comes back. It just like keeps like switching the technique. But one of the funnier things about this is when like doing like the stick visual like shaky thing, it makes like stick clicks. So like, here, listen to it again. It's great. It's great. I love it. But like overall, like this is cool that it's like, okay, it's putting it in like a football stadium. It's putting them on the 50-yard line. Like, there's a lot of like really interesting things going on here. Like, the marching band uniform looks like a marching band uniform that you might see for college or for like high school, etc. Like, this is like surprisingly good. So even though I'm laughing at this, like the overall like look of it is great, but the playing is just, it's something. I do like, however, that it's got like the match grip, so appreciate it. As somebody who now plays match grip exclusively, yeah, I appreciate it. Okay, so then I was like, all right, well, what happens if I ask AI to like create myself playing on a set of marching tenor drums, so like a solo? Okay, so I love the snare sound that just like continues here. And I also love the fact that just for some reason we've got like a like a set of tenors here with some pretty large spocks, but we've also got like a floor tom sort of marching snare thing attached to the side here. So we've got, 7 drums instead of 6, which is cool. This person is also wearing a harness, with a stand that is not like on the ground. You'll see the stand like wiggle around, and then they also have like a snare stand attached to the snare that is attached to the set of tenors here. So just like watch for that. See it like wiggling around? So this is moving. We've got a snare stand here as well, also dangling there. I do appreciate it's got like the stick bag and stuff like that. Like that's like a good touch. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. The tenors look okay, like the shells are like facing like wrong angles and whatnot, but like overall it's sort of getting the vibe down. Now in terms of the playing, questionable. I wouldn't recommend sticking your elbows out quite so much. I also wouldn't recommend like shaking your drums around a bunch. So I've got a bunch of like drumming tips that could help this person. Also, I asked for me playing it. Unless I got a perm, I never had like curly hair, and I never got a perm. So that's definitely not me. So I'm kind of disappointed in that. They didn't know who I was. Let's take a look again. I like the little ram at the end. Okay, so I also would not recommend playing with the like strokes where all of a sudden you're lifting up like this and changing the angle of the six. So this AI drummer needs some work here. So we want to have like a nice full stroke going into the head and keeping the same angle as if you're playing vertically when you're moving horizontally. So don't change your wrist angle like that, AI. Eventually they'll learn. Eventually they'll play better than I. Again, they got a nice relaxed left hand. Try and make it so that it matches the right hand. That's something we can improve upon. At the very end, though, the right hand does kind of like stick out a little bit with the fingers. So we're kind of losing some of our technique here at the very end. And apparently won't let me move it. Right. What happened to the stick there? We'll never know. But at the very end, well, probably don't do that with the hands. Just some advice there. But yeah, close. We're getting there. All right, so then I was like, all right, well, what about like, does it know what a marching bass drum line is if I ask AI to play like a bass solo? So no, AI does not know what a marching bass drum is. However, I do want to point out, okay, so we got like this guy here on the left hand who's like giving commentary. Maybe he's a judge or just like I don't know, somebody affiliated with the football team. We've also got this guy here who is not holding a drum, but is playing on this person's drum who they are holding. So you can see them like drumming back here. Their sticks like aren't really there sometimes, and then sometimes they are. Like now he's got some sticks, but then when he's playing, just like wiggling his hands around. Okay, so he's got like no sticks. Let's see, what else we got in this one? Again, we've got the extra like drums here on our tenors. It's interesting putting just like an extra drum right in the center that you can play on. Interesting approach. I don't know if Mapex is trying something new, but you know what? Maybe it'll catch on. Well, hello. It also seemed like they're playing with like puffy mallets, like on the snares. Like that's gonna give it an interesting texture. So if that's what you're going for, then cool. Go for it. You do you, AI. But yeah, not a bass line playing a bass solo. Okay, so then I was like, all right, so what would happen if I asked AI to create myself playing a solo on a drum set? I love that it just continues to keep drumming after he's like lifted his arms up in the air. Do I have a favorite drum manufacturer? I haven't bought drums in a long time, but when I did last buy a set of drums, I really enjoyed Pearl. So as long as they kept their quality up, then maybe Pearl. But there's so many good drum manufacturers out there nowadays. You really can't go wrong if you go with the major hitters. Okay, so I do like that this drum set is like the same color as like the one that's behind me. So my wife's kit. It's a little more sparkly for like her taste and my taste, but the drum set looks mostly like a drum set, but the playing just gets some surprising sounds that don't actually model after what the drummer is hitting. So we hear like double bass going on, the left foot is doing nothing. We've also got just a floor tom behind them, so maybe they're doing like a Julie Spencer approach where they're like flicking their hand behind them to be able to play that one, and maybe we just missed it in this particular drum solo. And then it keeps playing when absolutely no limbs are moving whatsoever while playing the drum kit. So, swing and a miss from the AI on this one. Do I play triplets on bass? I mean, on any instrument, you can play any type of rhythm. So yeah, certainly. And then if you go to here, so since you're on YouTube, on my home tab there, if you scroll down into the technique section, there's actually a bunch of timing exercises that you can do to work on that. So if you want to work on like your 8th note timing, your triplet timing, your 16th note timing, or transitions into like a triplet into a quintuplet, like there's a bunch of them in here. So if you like want to work on your triplet timing, since you mentioned triplets, there are 30 videos inside of here with like play-alongs and whatnot that you can play with your feet or however you want to be able to do that. So yeah, you can do all sorts of stuff. There's over 2,000 exercises on my home tab. If you're interested in any of these play-alongs, just click on it and use the timestamps and you can jump to whatever BPM. Normally, that's what I do in these like practice streams, but today we're just kind of getting goofy, just for fun. Okay, so because I have a background in like concert percussion, I've like played marimba and whatnot. So I was really curious, like, would AI know what a marimba is and what it would sound like? So I asked AI to create a solo of me playing. Okay, so AI definitely knows exactly what I look like during my undergrad. It's like carbon copy of me. We've got this like Stevens grip going on the right hand. On the left hand, we've got like a cross grip. Not really sure which one. But if we look at it, like it's interesting that like this kind of reminds me of the like concert hall that I performed in for my senior recital. We've also got like a stand holding some sticks, maybe. And we got some mics overhead. The marimba, for the most part, like looks like it's like fairly accurate in terms of like the black keys having 3 and then 2. But then we get like 2 again, and then like 3, and then 2. So it's not really up to it, but like it's got resonators, it's got all sorts of stuff. But the sound is not at all really matching what is going on with what is being played in terms of high and low notes and whatnot. So like as you went down, it's just like all of a sudden went to higher notes. Okay, so then I was like, well, what would AI be able to predict for the DCI Finals night in 2025? So Santa Clara Vanguard won high drums last year, but what are they going to look like in 2025? Not gonna lie, I'm kind of disappointed with Vanguard in 2025. They just, you know, their uniforms are a little weird. They kind of look like a high school marching band. Also, I'm not sure what is up with this person and their hair. Maybe I'm just jealous, which is why I'm focusing on it. But like their whole shako is basically their hair, and it's going all down their shoulders. But then this person just like completely disappears by the time we get to the end of this clip. Like, where are they here? And they're gone. They just like despawned here. Okay, so we need to like apparently reboot them. We've also got this person here who's like, what are they doing? They're not even holding a drum. This guy's like playing on like a super thin like I don't know, rotary tom or something. And then the tenors have like a snare drum attached to them like in the middle, and the tenors are kind of reversed in terms of their layout. Like they've got like a U shape instead of like an N shape, like with the like the main drums. We've also got like all these like different bass drummers and then some cymbal players and whatnot in the background. But when we get to here, like it looks like they're playing with like bass drum mallets or some puffies on these drums. But look at this drumming. Like that is a little warped. So I would imagine this doesn't sound really good being in tune and whatnot, but maybe I'm wrong. Again, never seen those types of drums before, but maybe Vanguard's trying something different this year. You know, wish a happy birthday to your mom? Mm-hmm. Let's... Yeah. Trying to get streamers to say racial slurs is pathetic. Anyways, all right, Bluecoats. So how did the Bluecoats, or rather, how are the Bluecoats going to do this year in finals night in 2025, according to AI? Okay, I like the stick tricks. I don't know how they're making clicking sounds while, like, flicking their arms around like that. The tenors are an interesting model. Looks like you got a broken head here. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drums. And then this one, I can't tell if that's an 8th drum or if it's an 8th and 9th drum. That's kind of in the shape of like a yin-yang or something. So interesting. The uniforms are a little weird for Bluecoats, but well, they're blue at least. The playing is something. We've got like this like weird sort of match grip, sort of traditional grip going on in the left hand right here. But it's like it doesn't know what to do, so it just kind of like shakes the the hands around, and then we get this like stick click visual thing. They like pull it in for a second, like Drumline the movie style, where it like goes in like this, and then just like go back out. I do like that it's got like people in the stands. It's got like people watching in the lot. I would have expected a bigger lot at finals night, but you know, maybe they're all watching like Boston or something, or Vanguard. I don't know. Okay, so not bad. So now we got Boston Crusaders, who, like, honestly, the last, like, few years have just been tearing it up in the lot. So I'm really curious, what are they going to look like in finals night in 2025? Okay, little dirtier than I thought, but, I mean, maybe it's just rough. Hopefully they'll get it right on the field. Now, it's weird that they're marching with, like, piccolo snares right here. It looks like it's even got like a Mylar head on it instead of like the Kevlar. And then their tenors are like a snare drum with like 2 floor toms and then like a drum 1. So that's also different. But, you know, it's Boston, so they can get away with it, I guess. But let's watch that one again. I would also recommend not, like, making your elbows go out so far while playing. Like, that's gonna, like, change the angle of attack that you're using. So I'd recommend, you know, just, like, keeping things in. But I'm sure the instructors at Boston know more than I do on how to clean the line. So, you know what? You guys just keep doing you. I was curious, what about the Blue Devils, though? Like, what would the Blue Devils sound like on finals night in 2025, according to AI? So here's the Blue Devils. Okay, so we got some interesting syncopation, some fast notes. That's typical of like Blue Devils and whatnot. But the drums here, like if we look at the drums, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's new. This person's kind of got like a match grip, traditional grip hybrid thing happening. Kind of weird, but maybe they're just experimenting with a different technique. I like the the very last part. Like when they're playing, they're like going this way, like going that way. Those tenors are weird. No. This is just you know how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have a piccolo snare attached to your 8 tenor drums, right? This is totally normal. This is just the evolution of drum corps. I'm just old. I'm used to seeing like 5 or 6 drums for the tenors, but let's take a look at Phantom Regiment. So Phantom Regiment 2025 in finals a lot, according to AI. Okay, so Phantom is experimenting with a new tenor drum setup. So again, this is interesting. So many drum lines this year experimenting with some new things. So like this person has a really tiny drum right there, and then they got 1, 2, 3, 4 other drums. So it's like they like took the tenor set and made it like inverted in terms of like how it is, and then we got the Spoks like spread wide, so that way we could fit a snare drum inside of it. We don't need snare lines anymore. All we need is this like tenaires or sninners, and then we're able to just like completely replace the snare line. Everybody's playing match grip, and we get like all these different timbres and textures going on. It's really innovative. Definitely going to help with like the GE score, right? I do like the person in the background that's doing absolutely nothing. So this person right here, like, doesn't play at all. I also like that they actually have a conductor, but like the conducting is not at all what I have been taught in any of my conducting classes and clinics that I've participated in. An interesting approach, but this person is just chilling. I think they just completely forgot the solo. So for some reason, the instructors also put them back with the bass line, and they're facing different directions. Different. Not saying it's good or bad. It's just unique, I guess. They're trying something new. Now, Carolina Crown this year in 2025 finals, according to AI. See, we're in 2025 DCI finals, so I'm really curious how they're going to sound. I hope they sound good. Just right off the bat, though, it looks like this tenaire player is playing with traditional grip, which doesn't really match everybody else. We've got like an isolated snare here and here. We got our tenaires. We've got like an actual tenor drum here. Just a couple of basses, kind of small for Crown. Maybe people are sick or something. So hopefully they can make it for the actual full performance. Where? How did they spawn cymbals? Where are the cymbals? I see no cymbals here. It's just people drumming, and then suddenly they have cymbals. That right there is just an automatic high drums right there. So I'm calling it now. Carolina Crown is going to win because they were able to just instantly transmit some cymbals into their hands for a crash at the end of the drum break. Like that. Super innovative. I've never seen anyone do that before. Also, it's kind of weird that, the drums just like went away. So I don't know what happened there, but you know what? I'm just so impressed with their ability to just magically spawn cymbals out of their sticks. So whatever magician they have been like studying with and having instruct them, like fantastic. 10 out of 10. And it just like collapsed inside of their like harness. 10 out of 10. Love it. Let's see if we can like go frame by frame and like figure out what's happening here. So we've got this. They crouch down. Okay, maybe they pull them out from their drums, and then suddenly their sticks are gone and they've got cymbals in their hands. Super impressed with Crown this year. That I'm even going frame by frame, I just can't figure out their technique. If like somebody's willing to teach me, I really want to learn so I can practice it on stream someday. Now, I marched for Arizona Academy like way back in the day for a few years. So I'm curious, how are they doing in 2025? Oh, going sleeveless. Sort of. Some of them had sleeves and some of them didn't. Okay, well, they've got their tenaires, their snare drums. Interesting. The uniform kind of reminds me of Gilbert High School's uniforms from one of the years, if I'm remembering correctly. Interesting. But not sure about the playing. Like, it looks like a lot of them are ghost noting, actually. They're just kind of faking it, just playing above the drums. But it sounds better than some of the drum lines. Again, we've got like just random isolated snare drummers in here. So we've got like this just like random person here, but it looks like they don't have like a bottom head. So it's like they're marching just like a floor tom. And this person is just going for some tri-toms again. While this other person has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tenor drums. So it's really weird how many groups this year are going with like just a unique instrumentation split. But yeah, I sound old. I just need to adapt to the times, I guess. Okay, now I'm curious, what is AI going to predict for the drumline that is going to win high drums at DCI finals? So I wanted to see what their drum break is going to be. So we're going into the future now to hear what that sounds like. I like that. We've got like a snare drum with like a random sidecar here. It's just like a floor tom attached to it, but the snares like don't have like any guts on them because there's no head on the bottom. So it's kind of like a tenor drum. We've also got like this person at the left side who just like randomly lifts up the drums at the end. And then it looks like for a moment there that the like sparkles are like coming out of the drum. So like right here, this person is just like all of a sudden they're just like shooting sparkles outside of their drum, which, you know, for GE, like great. Whoa, what happened to that guy's arm? So this dude in yellow right here, he like extends it. He's got like super stretchy arms for a moment there. That's impressive. Okay, so I was not expecting the Drumline to win high drums to sound quite like that. So I'm hoping AI is wrong here, but you know, it's AI, so it has to be correct. Now, the cadets have been defunct. They are no longer a core, but I'm curious, according to AI, what would they sound like in 2025 at finals night in the lot? Okay, so the Drumline is a little small, but I mean, you know, the core is defunct, so it happens. But we've got this weird set of drums here. It starts off with like a couple of drums, but then we've also got like 3 attached, 1, 2, 3, that fuses into 2. We've got like a normal snare here. We've got some basses in the background. Now it's 2 drums. It was 3. Then we've got tritoms over here on the left. Again, really weird instrumentation. Some people are wearing Shakos, some people are not. Cadets have kind of fallen off, not gonna lie. But, you know, I guess that happens after the core folds. So I wish them well, though, at finals night. Okay, what about the Cavaliers? How are they going to do at finals night, according to AI, in 2025? Interesting uniforms. They look like a high school marching band. All right, off the bat, we've got some really weird setups for the drums again. We've got 2 drums here. We've got a single drum here. It looks like this like person has like a baritone saxophone. We've got 4 drums right here with some kind of like a muffle. We've got like a mirrored set of drums here, a different set of drums here. This one's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different drums, but they're all like compressed. It looks kind of like a MIDI pad. Weird number of basses, also weird setup here. We've also got some more saxophones in the background. Not something I'm used to seeing in DCI, but you do you, cavies. Okay. Whoa! How did this set of 6 drums all of a sudden turn into a single drum at the end right there? The roll starts off okay. All of a sudden it's a snare drum. I don't know how they did it, but, you know, the GE is great. So good on you for figuring that out, cavies. We went from Casey Claw to a collapsible set of tenor drums that turns into a snare drum. Impressive. You get automatic points for that. And all of a sudden it's it just like folds into it when they close their legs. Good times, good times. This is exactly what a typical lot experience is like at finals night at DCI. Perfect. Okay, well, now I wanted to see them actually play the Casey Claw. So I want to see, does AI know what the Casey Claw stick trick is? So my initial thought was, no, it does not. But if we look at it, it's actually like getting fairly close to it. So it like almost does it correctly. So if we go here, there's like some moments where you do actually see like the left hand in particular, like start to do the claw motion. So see what I mean there? It's like sort of trying to do it, but it like doesn't really pull it off all the way. So good try, cavies. I mean, it's just not the same as it was in the past. You guys had it cleaner in the past, but like complete vertical with the stick. That may be part of the problem, why there's some dirt in there. It is weird that they're able to click their sticks without actually touching anything. That is an interesting trick. I don't know who's actually holding this drum. There's nobody there. There's nobody behind them. Unless they've got like a side mount on their bass drum and they're playing like a set of like 10 airs. Interesting. Okay, so now I want to see Boston Crusaders again. So we've got like another one of Crusaders because, again, they've just been tearing it up recently, and I've really been enjoying their lots, so I wanted to see it again. Okay, I think they might actually take the crown from Crown. So not only are they playing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drums on their, like, 10 airs, their snare drums, but they also have figured out how to spawn cymbals at the end of their drum break. And then go back to sticks to continue to play forward, backward, etc. So honestly, I think they might outdo it in terms of like Carolina Crown spawning cymbals. So I'm quite impressed with Boston this year. Let's watch this one. We're going to go a little bit like frame by frame here. So I want to see how they manage to get the cymbals to spawn right there. So we have sticks, and then suddenly they're playing with cymbals. And then the people over here on the left, while they're playing cymbals, it goes back into drumsticks. It's like it retracts like Wolverine's claws back into their arms, and then they finish off with a drum solo. So in my book, I think Boston is winning this year from the fact that they're playing a bajillion drums, which is going to do quite the number on their back, but they're also able to spawn in some cymbals while they're playing. Not as clean as I would expect from Boston, but again, just for the ingenuity of it all, like, it's just fantastic. 10 out of 10 to them. Now, what does AI think the McNutt special is for the Boston Crusaders? Let's see if they can get it right. Already looking at it, we kind of got like like this weird set of like tritoms giving us the evil eye right here. So we'll see how this sounds. Interesting take on the McNutt special. It's also interesting that this person kind of has like some napkins attached to their drums. Maybe it's just a visual thing. It just spawns right there, like it's trying to fly away. Adorable. This is so weird. Also, I'm not sure why the gap between like the rim and the frame right here is just like so wide right there. It's, not going to be good. This person's also drumming and they're not playing on anything, but they magically are getting some sound. So the entire time they're just air drumming on nothing. So I don't know, maybe they lost their drums, but it's pretty cool that they're still able to play with no drum attached to them whatsoever. Kind of weird that the McNutt special only has 2 bass drums as well. Also an interesting choice. Wait. We're going to go back. Okay, so now I want to get extra wacky with what does AI think drumming is going to look like if I say, hey, AI, create a drumline playing a drum break that ends with everyone doing a backflip. I've never seen that technique for a backflip before, but I can't do one, so maybe that's a thing. Where do their drums go? So we've got like an actual snare line for once. Then we've got like this snare, tenare line, and then a single bass drum. But what happens to these drums? Where are they going? If we go like frame by frame through this, it's like they went into their knees, and then they like spawn legs out of their chests right here. It's like they're from Alien, the movie, and do what I think is a front flip, but AI apparently thinks is a back flip. Either way, it's super impressive. 10 out of 10 for the GE alone. Whee! All right, so there's like, all right, what about a drum line that's playing a drum break that ends with everybody turning into different animals? So I'm curious, what kind of animals are people going to turn into, etc. Good morning on Instagram. How you doing today? We've got like a cheetah back here. Why is there a dolphin on the field? I mean, and what? It's like a cheetah elk hybrid thing with only 2 legs, like an ostrich. I don't even know. Like, I appreciate this like eagle looking thing is riding on top of a bear. We've got a lion as well. But how did the dolphin get here? And then what is this? Is this like bird perched on its tail? That's quite impressive. I do like that the cheetah is like holding this like bass drum back here. It's quite impressive that they trained it to do that. I didn't even notice the jaguar there, actually. It's just kind of like blended in there. And then apparently like the rest of the snare line just like didn't want to transform in animals. So interesting choice. I was kind of hoping the entire drum line would transform into animals. So I'm going to just go ahead and rate this like a 5 out of 10 because not everybody was able to pull off the execution of this particular trick, but good try. The quad snares is insane. This is totally normal. There's nothing weird about this at all. Okay, so what about a drumline playing a drum break while riding on unicycles? What does that look like according to AI? So we've got a snare line here, which actually has bottom heads. This one looks like it might have some guts on it, so that's new for AI. Okay, so we are just getting the snare break apparently, but overall it's okay. We got some inconsistencies with like the height and whatnot, some different technique going on. Like this person looks like they might be playing traditional grip for a moment while everyone else is like playing match grip. I'm kind of not impressed with the unicycle. It's great that you're balancing on it, but it'd be nice if you could actually move while doing this. Little dirt here, but we do have this like interesting stick click visual thing where they're like hitting. With it like hitting it together and hitting it on each other. That's impressive. That's cool. Difficult to pull off. Got to keep working on those rolls, but you know what? You guys are doing great. You're doing great. Those snares sound insane if they're AI made. Every single one of these like clips is made 100% with AI. All the sound, all the visuals, everything. So it's VO3, which generates not just the visual but also the audio for it. Okay, so what about a drumline playing a drum break, but everyone fits a drummer stereotype? So my wife actually came to this idea because she's also a drummer, and then just curious, like, what does AI think a drummer stereotype is? What is this guy doing in the background who's behind this person? So like all of a sudden he just like spawns in and looks like he's like rocking out on guitar, but then he's like drumming on nothing. He's got like a drumstick right here. And then he just kind of like stops. He's like, oh, I need to stop here. So we've got like a set of 2 drums right here. We've got 4 drums, kind of a weird shape. Some of them kind of look like a hybrid snare, tenor thing. We've got our bass drum in the background, and then we've got this like drummer who appears on the right. I'm not sure what they think a drummer stereotype is, but apparently we like to wear jeans and black shirts, which... Sure, I guess that's a drummer stereotype. This guy spawns a set of cymbals, which I guess is a drummer stereotype. While he's playing, all of a sudden the hands just turn into cymbals and then go back into drumsticks. Sure, that's a stereotype I'm not familiar with, but you know, I've only been playing for almost 30 years, so I could be wrong here. It is also interesting that this person, like, it's like looks like they're on a stand that doesn't exist. Like the drums aren't moving with their body, like the way that it would. And like some of them have like a carrier outside of their shirt, and then some of them have the carrier like underneath their shirt. But then all of a sudden this guy's carrier is outside of his shirt. Like, it is just unique, I guess we could say. All right, so what about a drummer who plays a drum solo, but they have a dozen arms and legs? They look like Goro from Mortal Kombat. I only see 2 legs, but maybe there's more behind there. It is interesting that they have the horizontal mount for the extra bass drum here instead of going with a floor tom. They've got their bass drum mounted with some rods to extend it. I had done this for a multi-percussion piece before. The arms are kind of playing like together, so it's not as like interesting as I thought it would be in terms of like limb independence if you're gonna have that many different arms. Also weird how the sound doesn't at all line up with like what they're playing. Where's all the cymbal sounds? Are they doing ghost notes right there? Is that what's going on? There's like faking it. They're choking it off right before they do it. Okay, what about a drummer playing a drum solo in the emergency room while a doctor operates on a patient? That would help them out, right? As somebody with a doctorate, I must say that is the optimal way to do surgery. See how focused they are? I like how it looks like they're like giving like like this person's like the dental technician and this person's like operating on their chest. We've got like my wife's drum kit back there, like, which is great. AI understands it. We've got some extra cymbals. Usually we don't put those up. Some extra toms as well. But you know, for like an ER setup, not bad. Interesting choice though. Cool. Yeah, not bad. I approve. As somebody with a doctorate in music, yeah. All right, so what about a drumline playing a drum break while everyone slowly turns in puddles of water? What would that look like? That's not... That's not at all what I wanted. Like, I'll just, like, slowly pans back and, like, shows just a puddle of water. But then what happens to this person's pants? All of a sudden, it turns into shorts. What happened? It's like their water broke. Not what I was anticipating, but you know, AI, it was pleasantly surprising. Weird choice. Okay, what about a drumline playing a drum break, but the drums are playing people instead of people playing the drums? Not at all what I was expecting. I don't know what these people are doing with their like weird conducting drumming thing going on the sides. But because that didn't look like it, I tried it again. And AI created me playing on the snare drum? It looks just like me. There's 3 of me. 4 of me. I don't know what this person's wearing in the background. It looks like they're like, what's his name? Like Sam from, what's that game? Siphon Filter. Like, he's got the night vision goggles on in the background. This one doesn't even have arms. What happened there? Why did dust appear out of their drums? I don't get it. Okay, so my wife, being a therapist, was like, well, what would happen if like the drumline played a drum break, but it's a sad drum break? So according to AI, what would that look like? It wouldn't look like much, apparently. Just a lot of open space in there. That is very difficult without any duts to have like a cold attack like that, which is why we got a little bit of dirt in the snare line. But, you know, it is a sad drum break. I agree. Why didn't that person on the right play? Are they waiting to come in? They're just doing some kind of an add-in? Everybody else is playing except for them? Maybe they forgot. Okay, but what about a drum line playing a drum break, but it's an angry drum break? I like the person in the background who's like overhyping here. Like they get all extra animated here. But what is that vocal? I don't know what that is, but also I don't see their mouths moving, so it's like they're ventriloquists. So impressive. I don't know why this bass drummer here is playing with drumsticks. Just getting a different texture, timbre, etc. Also, this stick is going through this person's hand, like right through the back of the hand, and then this person is weirding they're holding like a weird like claw-like traditional grip. Kind of questioning the technique here, but what do I know? All of a sudden, it's match grip now. Okay, impressive. Okay, but what about a drumline playing a drum break, but it's a scary drum break? What does that look like according to AI? They're like shinobi. How'd they do that shot? Did I miss something? Oh, it was you. I was looking at everybody else. Okay, so that person did it. All right. But while I was doing this, so look at this bass drum here that's attached to the side of this guy who's playing right here, but there's no drum right there. Like, watch carefully here. So they're playing on something while holding a bass drum on their side, but there's no drum there. And we're just going to, like, ignore the fact that we've got, like, multiple snare drums mounted onto here, one with a bottom head and then one without a bottom head, and then we've got extra drums here. Like, these snares are just like weird. We really need to get like some uniformity with like the design across like the different groups and whatnot, so that way, you know, people can actually like go home and practice, and then Vic Firth can create like another like quadruped that matches the different variations of the snares. Impressive. Okay, what about a drumline that is playing a drum break, but their sticks are actually fish? You know, fish sticks. What did he just do? What did he do? Okay, so we start off holding fish, which has a tail and a tail. So some weird genetically modified fish. I wouldn't recommend eating those. They're playing on like these snare drums. The fish go away somewhere. They magically pull out sticks, but then this guy who's given us this kind of like look, all of a sudden, what is that? Where's that coming from? Do I want to actually know the answer to that? But he looks satisfied. Whatever's going on there, I don't know if I consented to that. Not what I was expecting. Okay, so I was like disappointed that AI didn't know what I look like. So then I was like, okay, well, instead of saying me playing like a drum solo or something like that, what about Jared O'Leary playing a drum solo on a set of tenor drums? What does that look like? Okay, so maybe they're going for like me during my undergrad when I still had hair, but this is an interesting set of tenor drums in terms of the sound, but it looks like a weird drum kit with like a couple of ride cymbals on the edge, and then like a bass drum for some reason, and they're being held up by like snare stands. Weird. My playing has gotten better since my undergrad, so don't judge. Okay, making progress. I do appreciate though that I am wearing ear protection, so that's good. Like, don't want to go deaf when older, so excellent. Modeling good practices here. So the reason why I ended up doing this particular stream is because I was just like messing around with some ideas for like a drumming script that I was creating for like some of the like the scripted lessons and whatnot. So like if you're on my home tab of YouTube, there's like over 2,000 drumming exercises. So there's like a bunch of chop exercises. There's over 1,000 grid variations. There's the limb independent stuff. There's the marching bass stuff. There's a few hundred of those. There's some drumline cadences, some scores. There's almost 400 technique exercises. But all these like drumming tips, there's like 14 hours of them. But the drumming lessons, these are like scripted. And I was like thinking, what could I do for some different B-roll, like that might be funny in the background? And so what I was experimenting with was just like typing in different prompts to like figure out what my AI come up with. For example, I was like, okay, well, what about an like AI prompt for somebody drumming, but the drums are on fire and they're sweating a lot? You'll see why when a video comes out. I ended up going with just me. I just like jumped in the shower and was just like covered in water while I was like playing on the tenors. But this is what AI created for it, and like it actually looks pretty interesting. Like in terms of like the details that it's got on the drum kit, and then like the person's facial expressions, etc. Like it's quite frankly impressive. It does kind of look like they need a poop, but you know, they're straining a bit. They are on fire, so maybe that's the face I would make if I was also on fire and holding flaming drumsticks, but I don't know, and I hope to not find that out. So I also was experimenting with like some of the prompts, like, okay, well, for one of the scripted videos I was doing, I was like, okay, I want to like talk about like eating different types of food to help you recover at the end of like your drumming session. It was like, make a drummer eating a bunch of food with a drum kit. So this is what they came up with. All of a sudden, like that pizza turns into lettuce. Like, what happened with that? So we have a donut, scarf that down, pizza turns into lettuce. Don't ask what that prompt was. No, so I was talking about like using like nuts, seeds, oils, and stuff, and then having that be fuel for your brain. And so the AI came up with that based off of the script that I was working on. But here's another version of like a drummer eating food while playing, and this one's hilarious because the food turns into drumsticks, which turns back into food, and it's so wacky. So we're dipping our pizza in pasta, which turns into a drumstick, which is totally normal thing for. I love it. Okay, so this is what drumming looks like according to AI. Quite frankly, I'm very impressed with the quality of the details that are going on here, but it is hilarious how close and how far drumming is according to AI. It's just not there yet. I'm curious if I were to like do this a year from now or 5 years from now, is it going to be like carbon copy, like almost the exact same one for one what you would actually expect in terms of like an in the lot performance or like somebody playing like a recital, etc. It's only going to get better from here. So as wacky as like all these like different clips have been, this is the worst it's ever going to be. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen a few years from now. But I will say to AI that if you want to improve, one of the ways that you can do that is my home tab YouTube. There's hundreds of drumming tips and lessons in here. There's also thousands of exercises that can help AI improve. So AI can go really slow or really fast, whether they want to work on their limb independence or their grid variations or their chops or whatever. So AI, I got you covered. If you're not an AI and you're an actual person, you too can use these thousands of free exercises. But if you have any questions about drumming and whatnot, in these live streams, I would normally answer questions and normally be drumming. But today we were getting goofy. So feel free to leave comments in any of the like videos, as well as like joining in a future live stream. And I will happily like answer some questions, which is actually where we've got all these like 14 hours of drumming tips right here. These have been questions from chat, as well as like comments that I've received on different videos. So feel free to leave some comments. Despite being goofy today, I have a lot of experience teaching it and performing the drums, so feel free to ask questions, and I will point you into a direction that will hopefully assist. I'm going to call it here, though. I had fun with this, getting goofy with it. I'm going to actually get ready for Tomb Raider. We are close to the end of the game, I think. So stay tuned for that, but we'll be on in probably like 10 or 15 minutes. It shouldn't take too long because I'm already set up for it. But I appreciate people stopping in. I hope you enjoy these free resources and whatnot, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.